even though we are late.
Damn, that's a good cookie.
Dude,
That's crazy.
they're amazing.
I'm really fucked up.
I know. They are amazing. All right. Lock it in. This one over here. Oh, we got 5 waiting. Dude, we have 5 in the waiting room.
Let's go.
Go. Oh, yeah, Yeager, apologize to everybody.
I will.
Here, we might need to move this up a little bit.
You did have a really great
Is that
morning.
good?
That matters.
Yeah, it's good. What'd you say?
I had a really great morning. That matters.
Luke, is this your headphone or is that one mine? It does not matter. It's like it's coming
Yeah,
from
it
over.
doesn't
Okay.
This is Yeager's. Actually, yeah, you are wearing mine, technically. If you want to match up to the numbers. There we go. We might need to bend these in a little bit. Yeager. You got room?
Testing, yeah.
That's cool. Got the notification.
Let's go, dude.
Oh, what, that we're live?
Yeah.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Close.
Close. Rodecaster Pro. We're in there. Check here. Can we do this fucking thing?
Oh, yeah.
We could put it into the matrix. So how about that? There was 5 people waiting. It's pretty freaking cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeager, you gonna say thank you?
Sorry, thank you. Sorry.
No, in fairness, I was late last week, and then Yeager actually, you saved me by doing like a little.
I love
Like-
today.
Oh, we're gonna need to turn the audio off on the fucking TV or the.
The hell is this?
5
Keyboard.
canvas.
Oh no, the workplace.
Well, I mean, you don't need to use the keyboard. 5 watching now. What up?
Sit your ass down.
Smacking the algorithm.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Super chats.
This is us. Here we go. Everyone locked in? Fucking locked in. Yeags, you might need to pull your chair up, by the way. I didn't get a new fucking table yet. So I'll get the 5th one.
Oh, you're saying.
Yeah.
We got to figure out the lighting next time on the whiteboard, or maybe we just need a darker background on it.
I mean, truthfully, we need to do a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, back again.
Back in the lab.
Back in the fucking lab. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good night.
Good evening.
Okay, there we
Wait,
go.
do we want to introduce it with the name of the show now?
Yes.
So, welcome to the I Beg to Differ podcast. That's what we had on, right?
Yeah, I beg
I
to
think we're just gonna
differ.
call it. Just I beg to differ. I was even thinking, let's just take out the podcast. People
Oh,
know what
dude,
they're
Miller,
tuning into.
this is what's going on. I'm using your fucking mic right now. So now I can't see Yeager's face. And you're completely blocked.
Okay, so we're going to switch?
You need to do a little switcheroony. Does that get to you?
Yeah.
Do you need more reach?
No.
This moves?
I think this is good, actually. You guys, I'm coming in clear. Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool.
Let's go, Looky. Now you can see my face.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice. That's what Miller looks like, by the way.
This is Miller, and this is Miller's face. Do you want to see your face more?
This is good.
Come on, bro. Let's get you in the shot.
You got a good face, dog.
No, I appreciate it,
Show
bro.
off that
That's what.
fucking beard.
Once we get to the relationship segment, maybe we can.
Hold on. No.
Oh.
Go here, and then do it with this part right here. So this needs to be like tightened. want to fuck with it?
I think this is.
Is that good?
I think this is good.
All right.
Okay.
Now, are you more visible?
I think I am.
That was the goal. You can make yourself more visible. I'm just done doing it for you.
No, I think I'm good. All right. Well, welcome to the I Beg to Differ show. Yeager doesn't like the podcast.
Well, no. I was just saying we just call it I figure we just call it I Beg to Differ.
Welcome to the I Beg to Differ. Okay.
I beg to differ. I think we should probably call it.
That's why.
All right. So I think agenda today, Elon Musk interview, relationship segment. Alex, I think, what did I call it?
Yeah,
Alex
you can sit that part out.
I said Alex gets the axe is the teaser in that one. There's a quote Yeager wants to talk about. We'll do some COVID reflection in the weekly optimization segment. So a few other things, but
we definitely may not get to all of that too.
Yeah, and any big things that happened for us this week too,
100%. So let's start with the Musk interview. Luke, I know you love Musk. So for those who don't know, Elon Musk was on the All In podcast this week. They are doing like a summit in Miami, and Musk was like one of the interviews. I've listened to it like 3 times. There's a ton of really cool stuff in there. So what I thought we could do is, while Yeager gets situated, is...
Are you kidding me? While you're up, can you get my back
That's
cushion?
Seriously?
No.
Are you loose now?
Yeah, no, that's better.
Okay, cool. So what I was thinking is like we could go through each of us. The homework was, and Yeager, and we know you struggled with the homework last week. So like our 2 or 3 favorite takeaways from the Musk interview.
I actually, I listened to it on the way here.
Okay.
Because I didn't do it just like homework. I would be doing it in
You'd be doing it in study hall. Yeah,
exactly.
All right, Luke, do you want to go through your favorite takeaways, or do you want me to go first and to get the discussion started?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so I know you love Musk, but listening to this interview really made me like Musk. So there's like 5 things that really stuck out to me. So the first that I'll say is I think Musk is very intellectually honest. What I mean by that is like he acknowledges his mistakes. So, and he's very like, he's not a Democrat, he's not a Republican, like he just looks at things as they are. So I'll give you...
He's like focused on the truth.
I'll be very specific here. One, he said in the interview, he has always voted for Democrats. He has not voted for a Republican once. He said he will in 2022. To me, that's like he's being intellectually honest. 2, he wants to open source the Twitter code. That to me is, like Naval always says, what is the way to think about a fair system is hand it over to the other side. Would you be okay with that? To me, that's fair. They would never admit to doing that. They would never let and just say, "Hey, Republicans, you control it."
Bro,
now.
I think they're actively trying to change it because he is about to buy it.
Right.
Or potentially not, but
And the last thing, intellectual honesty. He said, "Hey, I forget in the first model there was this car expert who said, "Hey, Tesla did a great job, but they messed up this one part." Like I don't know if he's just intellectually honest. He looks for the objective truth, and that just really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Like.
Didn't he say he even reached out to him and he was like, "Yo, you nailed this. Like, we really had this messed up."
Yeah. So I think he's just an honest guy,
Yeah. His goal seems to be the truth.
Right.
Like his goal is to actually have just the truth come to light. He does as good of a job as anyone that I've seen to take their ego out of it. The equation.
Yep.
Which honestly is something that I've been working on too, personally. Because I think like that's everyone's journey, right? Is seeing things clearly, taking out your past perceptions, out of the way, so you're not like clouded by what you want to be true or any of the other cognitive biases that really determine our decision-making processes most of the time. Taking all of that out of the way and just having a focus on just finding what that truth is.
Finding the truth.
Yeah.
Naval also says, like from a politics standpoint. Whenever someone says, "Hey, I'm a Republican," "Hey, I'm a Democrat," "Hey, I'm a Libertarian," and their views fit into a very nice box, he says, like, your views are socialized. They're not your own views. Yeah. So that's the other thing I challenge myself on is, like, however I identify or the listeners identify as, like, can you name one thing that fits outside of, like, the Republican canon or the Libertarian? That, to me, is...
That's why I don't like the labels.
Right.
I agree with that so much.
Yeah.
Like, because most of the time what happens is you agree with, like, 80% of it, and like there's this nice box with all these cool people that are having a fun time, and so you compromise that extra 20% and you massage yourself into believing that extra 20% into what they want you to believe, and then most of the time everyone has that going on. So it's just like the label doesn't even actually mean anything.
Yeah.
It's comprised of a bunch of people who have 80% of some beliefs, but different portions of that 20% of different beliefs. So it's like everyone kind of believes different shit anyway, which at the end of the day, the smallest diversity is the individual. The biggest diversity is just the individual.
I think actually like 80 to 85% of Americans agree on most things. I just think the 10% on the right and 10% on the left are just sort of like the loudest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you for sure.
Okay, should I go to my next takeaway, or like, does anyone else have a takeaway?
No, I think that was a really good point. I mean,
yeah,
I think it's something we could all strive to be better at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way he thinks, basically. Yeah. I mean, I think like everything like along the same lines. It's like very first principles, physics-based thinking, which I think like
decision-making model.
Yeah, which like leads you to like finding more true or like objectively real answers. So yeah, I love that. And I don't know, he's just so fucking fascinating. You know, it's like just endlessly intellectual and intelligent. And yeah, that's just very, very interesting to me.
Maybe the next thing to talk about is the Tesla business model. So
then how he just doesn't see limits. Like he's like the whole thing where he was like, yeah, you inherit the legacy supply chain and like you inherit the restrictions that the legacy supply chain has. And so they just like rebuilt the whole fucking supply chain. And it's like, they had like the bumper. They're like, well, have you ever made a cast mold to like make a whole fucking car? And they're like, no, we've never made something that big before. And it's like, well, does physics say you can't? And they're like, no. It's like, all right, well, let's do it. And then they took like 130 piece thing down to like one piece or whatever. And then they just do that for everything, which is just, you know, it's inspiring, you know, because it's like fucking, you know, you look at like whatever it is you're doing and then you just compare it to like 100,000th of that. And you're like, this is just nothing. Yeah. You know, this guy's fucking walking through whatever he needs to get what he needs to get done. And that's just so admirable.
Yeah, I think it's inspiring too, just the looking at how he makes those decisions, you know, where he is just completely coming in with like a brand new paradigm. Like Naval talks about that too, where he was like, he said something that actually had a pretty big impact on me in this recent interview I was just listening to. And he was like, if you find someone in your field that has done exactly what you want to do and you do exactly what they do, you're not going to get what they have. There's so many variables that you can't actually pinpoint, and timing changes things that like, you can never recreate someone else's thing exactly. So you have to come to it with a fresh perspective and a fresh mind. And that's why he talks about like he focuses on decision-making models, how people make decisions versus the actual decision and what it was. And then when you can study an individual that has had success in whatever field you want to have success in, rather than looking at the physical things that they did, look at like the thought process that brought them to making that decision, and then learn how to replicate that thought process, which is like Musk there. He's like, oh, okay, so everyone up until this point has done things this way. This model has worked this way. Well, what if we just scrap it? He's like, he has no attention to dogma at all.
Yeah.
You know,
doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It's all first principles.
Yeah. It's sick.
What do you guys think about the administration antagonizing both Musk and Bezos? Let me be very specific. So Musk, they didn't invite Elon Musk to the EV summit. Mm-hmm. And with Bezos, I don't know if you saw the tweet. It was like from the Biden administration. It was like,
talking about inflation.
If you want to fight inflation, you have to tax the billionaires more. Like, to me, and also the thing, let me just say one more thing on Musk. Like with Ukraine, Musk used Starlink to give them internet access. Like the Democrats talk a lot about climate change. Who's doing more with climate change than Musk? So to me, it's just weird to even Bezos is like, he's very, I don't understand why they do that.
It's not weird if you come at it from the, like, they talk about climate change not because they actually give a shit about climate change. Every single one of them is buying houses right on the fucking coastline. They don't give a shit about climate change. They're doing it to like, so that they can enact policies that give them more control.
Yeah. And
they're using climate change as an example. Yeah. And like, that's, so like.
The politics is clearly very fucked in our country.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's why they don't, applaud Elon Musk, because he thinks on his own. He doesn't follow the party line and regurgitate whatever they tell him to regurgitate.
Yeah, but I do like that both Musk and now Bezos. Like, I think Bezos.
I got fired up seeing Bezos come out against that. I was like,
I'm like,
dude, that's ridiculous. Like, tax the bill. Dude, you could confiscate all the billionaires' wealth in the United States, 100% of it.
Yeah.
You confiscate it, not tax it. You take all of the wealth, and you have enough you have enough money to run the government for 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's not taxing the billionaires more.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean, it's just
help
they're
us
just
here.
yeah. Politics have just turned into such like, especially the Democratic Party has just turned into such a fucking hack show that like, it's just, it's like it's utterly like disgusting to like just even listen to anything at this point for me.
they're all
I don't
cronies.
pay much attention to it anymore, but like,
yeah.
if you got like, all right, the two most resourceful, richest people in the world saying that both of these people are full of shit, and you also think that they're full of shit, and like you could kind of reason why they're full of shit, I mean,
Probably full of shit.
yeah, I mean, fucking Biden's whole thing, it's like, dude, what would have happened if like they didn't just blow however many $1 trillion into the economy? Like,
Yeah.
would things have been that much worse?
Well, maybe if they didn't shut down the economy for so long, and we'll talk about that at the end.
That's in the COVID segment.
Yeah, it's
so
the COVID segment.
You did read the
Fired
the
up.
agenda.
I'm fired up.
No, but I think that's right. Like, to me, if you're
Obviously,
I
that's
read
what
the- I read
caused
the
inflation.
agenda.
It's
Yeah.
not because you're
I
not
read your
taxing
agendas.
Yeah, I
people.
know.
I do. I read them.
if you're intellectually honest and you're like someone, like, I don't understand how you
Well-
can criticize Musk or Rogan. Like,
Yeah.
they're both.
And then Musk is like,
self-admitted
I
liberals.
paid more
Totally.
taxes this year than anyone has in
Anyone
the
in
history,
history.
of the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So then people like bitching
Well,
about him. It's
I
like,
mean, the inflation thing is just so ridiculous because, like, if you break that one down, so like inflation
it's
is
not
it's
complicated.
too many dollars chasing too few goods.
Yeah.
That's what causes inflation.
Yeah.
Right. That's
You
what causes
just, like-
price to rise. So how is taxing the billionaires more? Which I'm fine with it. If you want to figure out a different way to tax, like I'm not saying the tax system is great. I'm just saying, how does that impact inflation? And then, like, when they're
And then
asked
the
about
other
it,
thing
they're
is like
"Oh, yeah."
Jeff Bezos, I think, is probably just so net deflationary in what he's brought to the world. You know?
100%.
Yeah, and then it's like the amount of value the guy's brought. It's like everyone's like, sitting on their fat asses at home, fucking ordering like fucking Windex because they don't want to move, and like it's there in the next 30 minutes, and they disregard how amazing that is. But they're like, take more money from this guy who just did all this for us. It's like there's no comprehension of that at all.
I wish I came up with this, but it was actually on the All In show. I think it was Chamath. He said the way to think about taxes is capital allocation. So, Yeager, you invest $100,000, it's in Uber, and it becomes $1 billion. Now, you have $1 billion gain. How much of that goes to the government? The more the government takes, the less you can invest in future companies like Uber that are net deflationary. So I think, to me, that's the best way to think about capital allocation. Would you rather give the money back to the venture capitalists or give it to the government? Who is more likely to come up with the next Uber, the next Tesla, the next...
It's
Amazon.
like
Something to make our
obviously
lives better.
the people who have turned $1 million into $1 trillion
Yeah.
are good capital allocators.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
totally,
duh.
Yeah.
When he
You're
said that-
funding companies that make our lives. Actually, this is one of my takeaways from the interview. If I can steal one of these from you,
Okay, yeah, 100%.
or I guess cut the line a little
Yeah.
bit. But at the end of it, like one of the last things that Musk was talking about was he was like, look, at the end of the day, like you break this down, companies are here to make people's lives better. Like that's it. Like the purpose of a company is to create goods and services that make your life easier. It's not like a political hangout. It's not some place to like take a stance or, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, you can meet friends there, but that's not what it's for. That's an ancillary benefit, So at the end of the day,
And then you
that's
had
what a company
Netflix.
is. That's it.
And you had Netflix CEO tweet out was like, if you're not ready to, if you're not prepared to make content that you disagree with, find another job.
Which
And, like, they went,
everyone
like-
should agree with that. That used to be a liberal slogan, right?
Yeah,
It's
but,
like, I may
but
disagree
Netflix
with what you
really
wanna say.
hopped on the bandwagon, just making like fucking
for sure.
left-leaning, like clean, washed-up shit. And then Netflix has just been getting fucked.
Their
because
stock's
of
down
it.
80%.
Yeah, and there's also a lot more competitors, but
Yeah.
like they're not
There's
making
a lot
the
of other
interesting
reasons
shit.
for that too. They also they started losing subscribers a long time before before this thing went out.
Yeah, but
press
I
release
actually
or
do think
whatever.
it's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
like the type
I
of
think that's
content
good.
that they've allowed.
Yeah, did you see that movie Cuties that they posted?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, this is bad. This is like dude, it was weird. It was like this like movie about like
Called Cooties?
Cuties. Like
Cuties.
8-year-old girls that were like in these like twerking competitions. I
What
didn't
the
watch it, but
fuck?
it was like a really, really big thing. In,
That's
like,
a weird
right-wing
place to
media.
start.
Fucking
Like,
weird. Really, really weird.
what the fuck?
Really, really weird. Yeah. So
No, but I agree. Like that was one of my biggest takeaways. Was
I don't think that's gaining them any subscribers. They could probably pull back on that.
I think that's losing. That's
Yeah.
Because I know, because I was watching some of these, like, you know, people like Ben.
I was
Shapiro,
under the
for instance,
impression it was
watched,
more like
and then he's
obvious, like political stuff that they were avoiding.
Oh, but probably that too.
Yeah. A majority.
I mean, when that came out, there was like thousands of people that left just because that came out. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really watch much on Netflix.
Me neither. No.
Like,
I haven't unsubscribed yet, but I'm like,
no, yeah, me either.
I've been thinking about it.
I mean, unsubscribe. I've been using someone else's account the entire. I've never had a subscription, so I can't really unsubscribe.
They've been trying to. Maybe that's why their business is down so much. You have a bunch of people like Yeager.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I think that's true. Like, I think that work should be like Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, very famously, like a year ago, said, "Look, this is a place where we're going to change the world, but we're not going to do it through political activism. We're going to do it through like." Decentralizing the monetary system, and I think that's the way that it was, and that's the way that it should be. To me, I don't.
Agreed.
Me personally, that's Alex. Like, I just don't think politics has a place in a lot of these workplaces.
Yeah,
At least
and I
to the
also
extent it
think
does.
that like
I agree
if
with you.
it's like that big of a topic of discussion, like I honestly don't think of it at all, other than when we talk about it. Like I like if it's that big, like you're not doing fucking anything if you're talking about politics. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Well, where it's like started to impact me was there was one clear political agenda that had a negative impact on my business over the last 2 years, and there's one clear political agenda that would have not even had a positive impact, but just wouldn't get in the way. You know, it's like that's why I've developed this heavy disdain for like these like far left people in government, because they have no idea how businesses actually work, and they actively shut our business down. So like that is something that makes
I
me
definitely
think about
don't like them, but it's like
I'm just saying. So for me, then it has an impact on every day.
yeah,
like
I get it.
during that time period. Right now, it's not really as much anymore, but I've developed an understanding and opinions based
of
on
why
understanding.
people. Yeah, I gotcha.
I think I agree with Yeager. For me personally, it's when it bleeds into economic land, like the lockdowns, like high taxes, like that bleeds into the space that I'm interested
When
in.
it impacts my life,
Right.
You know.
But like, yeah, I mean, you could watch CNN or Fox all day and like really get ungrounded and off sort of your like where you should be.
Well, yeah, you got to be doing shit.
Out of the, out
dude,
of the right
yeah, for
headspace.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're tuning into the daily news, it's like there's not really much that you need to know from like a countrywide standpoint every single day about like what's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Okay, other things that I liked, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. So, Luke, last week you talked about you want to invest in Tesla, and I was fascinated by like the diversity in Tesla's business model and hearing Musk talk about it. So it's not just a car company; it's a software company, it's an insurance company. They do all the car parts. Like hearing that
I thought
distinction,
that was wild. They do insurance super chats. Can people comment on the thing if they watch?
Yeah.
Cool.
There was 5 people waiting. What was I saying?
no, you just said he gets what he wants, and he
Yeah,
does what
so
he wants.
gets what he wants, and then he's just got a ridiculous level of just like determination to get what he wants. One of the things that stood out to me most was he's like, as a CEO, you have chores every day that you don't want to do. And I could relate to that so much, where he's like, I got to do like legal things, and I got to, personnel issues. And it's like, I just have to do them that I, would rather not be doing. And I just, it's like, that's it.
He was
like,
saying that because like, he didn't want to be CEO of. Was it because he didn't want to be CEO of Twitter? Was that
no,
what was he saying?
Different part. We're just talking about like, how's your life now? Running all these different businesses. And he's like, well, I've lots of chores. And that's how he called it.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like he has to do it's almost like cleaning your room. It's like you just have to do it, but it sucks ass. But like if you do it, then your room's clean.
I actually like cleaning my room personally. It really clears my head. Actually,
Well, shut the fuck
what
up.
I noticed though, fuck off.
Yeah,
Listen,
okay.
bitch.
Yeah.
What I noticed
Yeager
is that
loves cleaning his room, everyone.
I don't understand that.
I do. There's a high correlation of
I
times.
don't understand
There's
that.
a high correlation of times when my life is
He
in
also
disarray
likes
and my
he
room's
likes
in disarray.
cooking.
Yeah,
like,
hell yeah, I like cooking.
Yeah,
Relaxing.
hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Relaxing. Simple man over here.
He's
Yeah.
sophisticated,
Let him
bro.
fold some clothes.
I
Yo,
love folding
Hey,
clothes.
I got a lot of clothes right now you can fold.
All right, let's make a bargain. Make a deal,
You like doing it. Would I have to pay you to do something you like to do?
bro.
What? It doesn't seem like
Are
you
you
like
kidding?
this too much, huh?
I do like it,
Okay.
but I'm good at it. I like it, so I've done it a lot. So
How
I'm
can you
good
be
at it.
good at
I'm not
cooking?
You
giving-
like
I'm
it
not
and
doing
you're
something
good
I'm
at it,
good
then do it for free.
Why?
You like it and you're good at it. Who doesn't
like
doing
it?
things that they like and
You
they're
don't need
good
to
at?
concern yourself with what I like. Do you like it?
I do, because you
Oh,
just
you
told
do.
me
All
you
right, so
do
why do you want
like
me to
it
do
and
it?
you are
Don't
good
give
at
it
it. Because
away
I
then.
don't want to do it.
Oh, because you don't want to do it. Right. So you are outsourcing something you don't want to do. Therefore, I will do it. But let's work out a deal.
All right, I'll give you $5.
All right. See, now we got a starting point.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to counter. Go up.
that's a fucking counter.
I'll do it for all those cookies in your kitchen.
Deal.
Easy. See that?
That's good content.
You don't know how much clothes I have.
Boom. That's how that works.
I have literally all of my clothes. They're all clean, but they're just in a pile. Like we're talking
all
like
right. I'm not hanging anything. I don't like hanging.
you have to hang. That's
No.
part of the thing.
I just like folding.
I don't want half of the fucking job done.
And also, is it fresh out of the dryer? Because I like when it's fresh out of the dryer.
No, it's been sitting there for like 3 days.
Okay, I'm out. What a ridiculous-
Clearly,
what
he
a
doesn't
ridiculous
like
pivot.
fucking cleaning, and he's not good at it.
For that reason, I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys good? Did you come do it? Landing
got
spot
it out.
negotiation.
Yeah,
wise?
he doesn't actually like cleaning.
Yeah, we had to pivot because he. Actually, this is very similar. Much like how Twitter kind of tried to bamboozle Musk, and they said that there was less than 5% of accounts that were fake accounts. And it turns out it's probably over 20. That's like what Luke was trying to do to me.
Yeah, he didn't give you all the details.
I read the SEC filings on the laundry, and it looked like the laundry was fresh out of the
Actually,
dryer.
I very
and-
accurately depicted the load of laundry. I let you know how many days it's been sitting on the floor, and I let you know that you're going to need to hang clothes. So
but
I don't know
waited.
what the fuck you are talking about, bitch.
that was me trying to pivot back to Musk.
Okay,
Well, no, it wasn't.
failure. So I mean, my takeaway is I just think like if
Just
anyone,
fucking cursing at each other.
yeah, if anyone really doesn't like Musk, I would encourage them to listen to that interview because it's like I don't know how you could dislike him after listening to to that interview.
Yeah, I agree.
Trying to stay focused between the shit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm doing my best, but
I won that, by the way. Huh?
you did.
What?
Yeah, boy. We should
He
just
won
keep
that,
a-
but he's still got a pile of
We should
clothes that
keep
are
a,
full of just that are probably now
And
dirty.
I also got a box of
And
delicious
wrinkled.
cookies,
Yeah,
so
that you're gonna
you know,
give me anyway.
perspective is everything.
Have you guys ever seen the show on ESPN? It was called Around the Horn, and the host could give people points. That's what we
Oh,
should
yeah.
do. We should like.
I would have just got
Yeah.
a point
We-
there.
we should,
Jaeger
like,
would got
I
a
could-
minus
I would have
one.
gotten I would have
I
had like
could-
4. You would have had 3.
I could start doing a tally mark system.
Minus
I
4.
like that.
Okay. Anything else?
Positive 3.
Anything else on the Musk interview? Like I listened to it 3 times. I learned something new every time. Again, if you dislike Musk, I would encourage people to listen to that interview, being intellectually honest.
He's getting aggressive. Did you see the thing where he's like, Tesla is assembling a legal task force? He's like, submit evidence of exceptional skill set and talent here. He's like, here's my 2 tenets. 1, we will fight anything that is unjustly brought upon us, even if there is an extremely small likelihood of winning.
Sick.
And we will not fight anything that is justly brought upon us, even if there is a strong likelihood of winning.
That's
And I was
fucking
like,
amazing.
yeah. And then he was like, I'm not looking for white collar lawyers. And then he called 2 people out who are corrupt. And he's like, there will be blood. That was the last
Damn.
line. Yeah.
I did not see that. What was it, like a tweet?
Yeah, it was a tweet because Business Insider just fucking came up with this thing about him, like, trying to like get a hand job from like a masseuse or something like that.
dude.
And
Well,
it's
dude,
like,
which also is
okay,
like-
right now. And it's like,
Dude, less than 24 hours after he's like,
Coincidence,
yeah,
right?
oh, I'm about
Yeah.
to vote Republican. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, 7 years ago.
dude, but
did
you
this.
just can't fuck with this guy. Like when someone's that good at reasoning, it's
Yeah.
like you cannot, it's hard to out reason someone who's so good at reasoning. He's like, if I had a inclinate or if I had a proclivity for sexual harassment, this wouldn't be the first time it appeared over my 30-year career. It's like, what a good fucking
Well,
argument.
Dude,
like,
it's not even that he's like just that he's good at reasoning. It's just that he also is fine to be wrong. Like he's
Yeah,
okay if he's
exactly,
wrong.
yeah.
And he's like happy to, like he said in that one, it's not only is he going to fight things, even if there's a small chance of losing,
Winning.
but yeah, he's not going to fight it if it's true, even if he can win. Like that just, it goes back to what we were saying. He's just very intellectually honest.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah. And I think he's like giving Jeff Bezos a little, because Jeff Bezos is extremely brilliant too. It's just he hasn't shared his thoughts as much.
I also think it's like now that Jeff Bezos isn't CEO of Amazon anymore, I think that makes a difference for him. I know that's like a year old or whatever, but
True.
I think he's like a little bit more free.
And
to
just
do what he
seeing
wants.
Musk, you know, like
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I'm sure that has to like even unconsciously just give him courage to like say what he actually thinks. But that's what we need, dude. These are the smartest people that we have in our society. Like if that's an objective truth, these people created these businesses and these systems that make all of our lives incredibly easier or better, more efficient.
give us more from them.
I think as a society we need to
just your thinking. Yeah.
elevate their thinking and elevate their opinions.
My favorite sports podcaster is named Colin Cowherd. He's like, I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah.
And he always says like, say it out loud. And to me, like, who would you rather have solving the baby formula supply chain crisis? Biden or Jeff Bezos?
Yeah.
Who would you rather have solving climate change issues? Elon Musk or
Kamala Harris.
no? But seriously, like, just say it out
No,
loud.
it's true.
Yeah.
Say it out and like
Yo, and then for that matter too,
That's
like,
a really
name
good-
any politician on the right too.
No, I-
Versus Elon Musk or
That's
Jeff
a good.
Bezos.
That's
like,
a good thing right there. Say
I would
it out
rather
loud.
Musk or Bezos there too. It's not
Yeah.
even about left or right. It's just like politics right now doesn't attract the smartest people.
It doesn't
It attracts like the leeches.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like a
I
gross
agree.
thing.
And to be fair and
But-
be very explicit, I would say the same thing for people on the right.
Exactly.
But in fairness, last time when they had supply chain issues, they brought in the smartest people from the private sector to solve it, not like the Department of frickin'
And then the other thing is Jeff Bezos has very likely been a Democrat his entire life, and same thing with Elon Musk.
he
So
is.
it's like they're
Dude, all these ultra rich people are.
yeah. So
I don't get why they're antagonized. I just don't get it.
yeah, I don't either.
Um,
I think the higher you go, there's like just like it's like whoever's the best ends up getting not liked by like I don't know why that happens. It's like the
well,
crabs.
I think it's because those are the people that threaten the
cage
system
thing.
the most.
They think
as
independently, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and they're really competent. They're really efficient, and they think independently. So for someone who's like a part of this establishment and like is really desperately trying to hold on to their power because they are leeching sort of from the system, they see them as a risk, especially like, for instance, decentralization. That's a huge risk to the way that our governance system works. I think it's overall a better idea, which is why, like we've all said in the past, like we like the idea and the theory philosophy behind cryptocurrencies because of that decentralization aspect, at least for me. You don't need to rely on trust anymore. You just have a code that tells you if it's which way it's going.
Yeah.
It's just better.
And then maybe the last thing, intellectually honest, we can move on to the next segment, is like Musk said, when issues happen on the left, it's because of like unions. When issues happen on the right, it's because of religious zealotry and corporate greed.
Yeah.
Again, that's fair. And I think everyone can agree. Again, I don't think that's a controversial statement, but
No, I don't
it
either.
like they try to make it into one. Like,
Yeah.
and I could go on and on, but anything else Musk-wise from Musk's biggest super fan?
You're amazing. I love you. I love you, Elon.
Elon's the one person watching.
It's like, wow, these guys have a lot of good stuff to say.
I used his name because it just draws views. Anybody who's made an Elon Musk video has just gotten more views over the last few weeks.
Yeah, makes sense. The only other thing I would say, that just because we were kind of talking about him versus politicians and who would be more efficient, blah, 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 all that, I think that Elon would actually, or anyone like him, Bezos, all these people would actually have a bigger impact on our lives in the private sector versus like running for politics. Like, I personally wouldn't want to see Elon run for president because then that just takes up all of his bandwidth and he can't spend it on the things that he's currently doing that I think are having big impacts on our lives right now and going to have exponentially greater impacts in the future.
Do you think Musk would be a good president, Luke?
I think Musk would probably be good at anything.
I think he'd be a good president.
No, but I agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
one A versus B, private sector president.
Where can you make the most impact?
I think
Right.
it's got to get like, I think there's probably, it's got to get like destroyed a little bit first before someone can come in and like fucking blow it up and turn it into something new.
I mean, it kind of is. It's like,
It's
I feel like they're like
becoming.
grasping, right? Like all these like establishment leeches are grasping on.
All right, let's change this. Let's change the subject. I don't feel like talking about politics anymore.
Okay. All right. So, relationship segment titled "Alex Gets the Axe After 2 Dates." So, this is So we'll do it like what we did last week, where like I'll give like the story high level, and then we can use like the micro example to like go into general relationship. It's like almost like in this segment, I get to ask you guys questions. You guys have to give me advice.
Okay, just don't listen to anything he says. You could just sit this one out, Andrew.
So the backdrop is like, and I know, like, long story short, I went on 2 dates with this girl and I wasn't like in love, but I thought like it was going well. And then, hey, like, this was fun, but like, we're done. So my specific questions are.
Oh, she said that? I thought you said she just ghosted you.
Well, I thought she was ghosting me, but then she texted me back. So I do actually.
I respect that, actually.
No. I actually respect it too.
Did she watch the pod?
She mustn't.
Yeah.
Well,
She must have not watched the
she's
pod.
Elon and her. I think that would be interesting if
She didn't watch the pod?
No, she didn't.
Oh, dude, that was your first mistake.
Maybe she's watching right now.
Just
Hey,
say I'm gonna
Chelsea.
beg to differ pod.
or maybe not Chelsea. Or maybe
Sarah.
she asked me,
Becky.
It was probably an Ashley. You,
But
you
then
dog.
Ashley's.
she's like, whoa, this content's so pretty good. Like, I didn't like him, but the content's not bad. So, how do you guys feel about? Because one of the things I think I struggle with is,
Never had that happen to me. Just kidding.
I
This is
believe
why
it.
you shouldn't talk to Luke about these things.
So, thoughts on like, so not showing too much interest at this stage of my life. I think I've opted for showing more interest when it's like, when I think it has an opportunity to go somewhere, but I think some girls get turned off to that. So there's like, why don't I start there? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, are you ever thinking about if you like a girl? Well, now you guys are sort of, like,
No.
you just are true to yourself and how you feel.
Yeah, 100%. I don't do the whole game bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would your point of view be like, if you like a girl, you should like tell her and be more direct? And if she responds negatively to that, or if she's like, hey, he's coming on too strong, like, you want a girl who sort of knows what she wants. Is that a fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think just being honest.
Yeah.
You know, I think honoring how you want to do things is really important.
Yeah.
So, you know, letting that kind of lead your decision making. And then, yeah, I don't think playing games is a good idea. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, unless it's like unless it's like a very conscious component of like increasing odds of like, you know, meeting more people or something like that. And you're trying to like literally just go on a ton of different dates and
Yeah.
like set a bunch of dates up or something, then I could understand that. But, you know, if you like somebody, like them, I don't know.
And-
Maybe that's oversimplified. I honestly haven't like dated like that for fucking a long time. So like that's my answer now, but I'm not even in that realm. So
Because my takeaway from it was like one of the not justifications, but the thought process was like, hey, if I'm looking for something that's more serious, and I express that, and not that I was like weird about it, like, hey, like, let's get married. It was just like hey, like, let's go on another date, right? Then if she's turned off by that, then maybe that's like wasn't the right person at this time in my life. Like,
yeah, I mean, how many dates in were you?
no. I'm not saying I was in love. I'm just saying like after 2 dates. The one thing I told my
He's
friends,
just dodging the question right now.
it was 2 dates, right? And it was like I thought they objectively went well, right? I think I have like I'm not a moron when it comes to like social cute, right? Like there was like
You could understand there was like a back and forth.
so to me, what one hypothesis would be, and I don't get into this game because you could go on like you could speculate forever, right? Like maybe she wanted something more casual, right? And I expressed something that wasn't like that. Maybe she's like, hey, maybe there was a little like fling, but it wouldn't work out long term. She might not have been in a place in her life, which is totally cool. But that was like,
Yeah, I wouldn't look into like that you did anything wrong.
right. That's
Yeah. So I think
over
I
it.
think that's even like a false premise. Like, what
Exactly.
did I do wrong? It's,
Yeah.
Unless you're not true to yourself, then that's something to do wrong. I think as long as you are, like my general rule of thumb for dating, my philosophy for dating and life in general is radical honesty. I try to just be as honest as possible. Like genuinely
Uncomfortably
blunt,
honest.
Yeah, uncomfortably blunt, to the point, honest, transparent, clear as possible.
yeah.
And for me, you know, I am a lover. You know, like I genuinely like I just enjoy myself.
What's your love language?
Fuck you up.
Words of affirmation. Is that your love language? Do you know what love language?
Physical touch.
I think I'm physical touch and
Yeah.
words of affirmation. Okay.
But in general, like I just, you know, I fall in love with life. I'm really happy. Like I wake up, like I tend to like dance in the morning. I sing in the shower. I end up like skipping a little bit when I'm walking to work. Like I genuinely enjoy life.
Same.
I like living life
The skipping
around
part.
other people, like communicating with other people and connecting with other people is probably my favorite aspect of life that I personally like, which is why I'm excited to sit here and do this.
Miller's more analytical though, so that's where.
Well, but my point is, so I naturally really, really enjoy connecting with people, with women, especially like in a romantic setting. But my rule of thumb is always just complete, total, radical honesty. So I'm as honest as possible with them. And then if I am like just kind of casual at that point, then I let them know like, hey, listen, right now I'm just not in a place where I think I could take this seriously and I'm going to see this going to the next level. But I really enjoy being in your company and I would really enjoy continuing to get to know you better. If you're okay with that, let's do it. If not, then just, let me know at any point if you get comfortable. And then tying it back to models.
Okay, the book just served by Mark Manson.
Yeah, it's probably so. I read like when I was younger, I read a bunch of dating books.
Yeah,
and then I read Models last, and it made all the other ones irrelevant. It's a personal development
necessity
book.
Thing.
Yeah, it's just talking about like not being needy, being comfortable with yourself, not portraying neediness, and the most needy thing that you can do is like care about what other people think about a decision that you feel strongly about yourself. So. Or you feel strongly within yourself. So for instance, like if you like someone and you want to go out on another date, then the right way to do that is to say, hey, listen, I like you. I'm enjoying spending time with you. I want to continue to spend time with you, get to know you better. I think we should do another date. And then they say no, then it's like, okay, no worries. Because like at that point, like you don't want to spend more time with someone that's like forcing them to spend time with you.
Yeah.
You want to spend time with someone who's excited to spend time with you. So whether it's they're not the right person or it's not the right time or whatever, either way, the main thing is that it's not personal.
Right.
You don't take it personal. As long as you do what
That's some really good advice.
Yeah, everything's in your own control, right? Like you, as long as you make up your own mind, you act with intention and you do things on purpose and you're clear and honest the whole time, then you walk out of any situation with a win. And if you have that mindset, you also look, you're going to be an attractive person because they know that. Like a woman across from you is going to know, oh, okay, so he doesn't need me to be skipping to work. He's not skipping to work because of me. He's just skipping to work. And then he just also enjoys if I'm skipping next to him. Like she's not the cause of your happiness. She should be, it's a co-independent relationship. You're an independent, happy person with another independent, happy person.
Mm-hmm.
To me, there's a strong parallel to the conversation we had last week on like you need to be confident failing in business. Like, and you just need to do what is authentic and true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're okay with repercussions, positive or negative. To me, it's very similar. Like you go out in life and you navigate life based on your internal compass, and whether it's relationships, whether it's with business, you're okay with the consequences because you're living in accordance to your internal compass. So that was like,
and that's where when people are playing games, right? They're like,
not.
I'm so interested, but then it's like, whoa. Now all the questions open up because you're like, I wasn't acting how I am.
Yeah.
What did I do? Right. But that question doesn't surface if you just do what he just said. But he's a little bit more analytical. So he's going into it
whole,
with like
hard to get thing is like it's starting with a false premise because basically what you're saying is like, hey, what if I manipulated this girl? Do you think that she would then want to go on a third date? And then the real question is, would you want to go on a third date with someone if you had to manipulate them to get them there?
fair.
Yeah.
That's a better question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the other side of the same coin, you open up all these fucking dating books, and a lot of them are going to be built on those kind of premises.
That's why I said Models makes all the other ones irrelevant because it's based on, oh, hey, get yourself right first. Like get your internal, positioning right, get your feet on the ground, and then go out into the world as an attractive person.
Yeah.
Rather than like trying to,
And then numbers.
Yeah, it's true.
Fucking volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting comfortable.
Getting comfortable, like going on a ton of dates.
Yo, and then honestly, dude, like, so my take on dating too is genuinely like, I just really, really like people. I really like connecting with people. And I'm going out to meet women and connect with them and see who they are. So like, I usually like when I go out on first dates, like I don't talk about myself much at all.
Yeah,
really at all. Because I'm trying, unless they ask me. Like I'm not like I don't have an aversion to talking about myself. I'm not manipulating anything. I'm just genuinely interested. Like that's actually what I'm really interested to see who you actually are, and let me see if I can, actually see who you are and see if I like you. And then if I like you, I'll let you know I like you. I want to see you again. If I don't like you, I'll let you know that.
And then that's usually when he gets dumped. So that's like
I
got dumped one time, And it was the best thing that could have happened to me because I was a little shit.
No, I agree with that. I got dumped one time too, and like I wasn't ready for what would have been like the next step. And like looking back on it now was the right thing. It sucked at the time, but like I would use your words like a little shit. I wasn't mature. I wasn't confident with myself. Like I just wasn't there yet. So
mine was like it was almost like a fake confidence. It was an insecurity masking as confidence.
Who dumped you?
Manifested that one girl, Kelsey from Westchester.
Kelsey.
Blonde chick.
What was her last name again?
beep.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
I
know who you're
Dude,
talking about.
There's 5 people watching, so I can't say her.
Actually, I don't. Oh wait. Oh, no, I do. I know.
And Elon might retweet this out, so we can't.
The Kelsey from Westchester. You broke my heart, you bitch.
All right.
Did you hear Andrew was talking about you on the podcast? He did a whole relationship segment on you.
So
no, we actually ended up reconnecting even later too, and it was like not as like in like relationship, but it was like I realized that it wasn't. It's like it was a fun little fling, but it wasn't something that was a long game thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it was and like I needed that lesson at the time too. So you know, like working my way through that afterwards actually made me just I think more genuine. Like what I'm going for now is just authenticity. You know, I'm regulating myself to make sure that my thoughts, words, and actions are in alignment. And if I can operate on a daily basis in whether it's my business or in relationships, you know, specifically talking about relationships for this, but if I can operate in a manner in which I see a straight line between all my thoughts, my words, and my actions, then I've realized that whether it happens the way that I would think that I would prefer it to happen or it happens a different way, I walk out of it like happy from going through it and like feeling good about myself and the way that I handled myself.
So
prideful.
No, it's a good prideful, right? It's
I'm
like
not saying that's a bad thing. Yeah, I mean, it's good to have pride in how you're
Yeah.
fucking operating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like pride in
alignment.
yeah, for something that is it's good for
Questions
you and
come
good for
when
other
you're
people.
out of alignment, like burnout, confusion, anxiety. That comes when you're not acting in accordance with your nature.
Well, and then think about too, like playing hard to get in that framework.
Some
too.
people just are hard, dude. Some people are that like vibe, right?
But
So,
yeah,
like, that's
but
where that
you're
comes
talking about
from.
playing it, right? Like then you're not being authentic,
Right.
Right. You're out.
Well, no,
and then
I'm
you
not
have to,
talking
like,
about anything. I'm just saying that some people are like that, and that's
Or
like
what?
the whole idea. Like some people actually are just harder to get, right? Like say hypothetically,
you're like manipulating them to think that you're higher value.
right,
than you are.
exactly.
Yeah.
And really, the real game is to actually be harder to get if
Yeah.
you want to be harder to get.
Because you value yourself high.
Exactly.
Highly,
It's like
you know?
if you got a bunch of shit to do, if you have a pretty busy schedule, you know, if you're focused on a mission, you know, like it's gonna be harder to like figure out like a thing, and then you know.
I mean, to be honest with you, dude, like actually, like going into like dates, I'm not really focused on, hey, does she like me? I'm focused on, do I like her? So
that's a good way to think about it too. I think even in job interviews, I tell people that. Remember, it's a two-way. It's a two-way street. So don't get too like.
you're the prize, bud.
Right. So I'll tell you guys other journal reflections that I had, and not that this girl broke my heart. She didn't. I was more like it was more just a good. It was
It's a good segue. It's a good opportunity to bring this up and talk about
Yeah,
it.
and it was a natural. Well, one, the
more
content,
than that.
the content is good for the show, and 2, it was a good reflection point for me. So other things that so the first one is like a mantra I've used for most of my 20s, and it's like, I think it's Charlie Munger: to find a worthy mate, be worthy of a worthy mate, which is sort of what we just talked about. It's like, be the best version of yourself and you'll attract people. So it almost is like has a model's vibe to it.
Charlie Munger, he also says something. He's like, if you want to have a good marriage, marry someone with very low expectations.
Is that what was that a joke or is that serious?
This is very serious.
I mean, they're also like he's a master of like saying those hilarious statements that then when you think about them further, you're like, oh, I guess that's like that's probably pretty true. That would work.
Yeah.
And another thing I wrote in my journal was thinking of like loving Alex as a character trait. So like if you have your checklist, right? No one has a checklist, but like there's things that we all value, right? In someone like at the end of the day, and maybe it's sort of related to Charlie Munger, it's like you need someone that values your quirks, your like specific, like, and if the only way a marriage is going to last 60, 70, 80 years is because of that. So like ultimately, I think girls are doing me a favor when they say like, no,
Yeah.
because you need to find the person that's like gonna value the things about you. Like,
And you're doing them a favor when you do the same.
right.
You know, that's
Right.
why if everyone can operate with that framework, I mean, it's just better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for the record, like, I'm very happy being single. I'm not like heartbroken. So if the girl's watching, she's one of the two watching right now. It's not that deep. It's all good. No hard feelings. Like, but okay. Any other relationship advice for Alex before we move to the next segment?
Volume, and then don't psychoanalyze as much.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair too.
Yeah, I would just say have fun and find the one that you like. Don't worry about if they like you.
Yeah.
You'll know that.
Yep, and then don't be attached.
No, that's another good one too.
Yeah,
Attached to the outcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think there was a quote you want to talk about.
My warrior quote.
It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? That's the quote.
Yeah, I just love it.
Yeah,
I just think it's
unless it was a war over who built the better garden.
that's a metaphorical war. I'm talking about
Yeah, it's still a
physical
war. It's
I'm
a very
helping
real
explain the quote to you.
metaphorical war. Ever heard of the TV show Garden Wars?
Is that a show?
No,
No, it's not.
I don't
a
know.
show.
Just made
I
that
mean,
up.
honestly, I would watch that show.
Yeah.
I garden. I like to garden.
Damn, that is a good show
Yeah.
premise. I feel like that might exist. If it doesn't, someone go make that.
We had an
Garden
idea
Wars.
2 years ago to start a podcast. It was going to be called Chopping It Up, and it was just us.
Cooking.
We were going to be cooking dinner and like just bullshitting, and like that was going to be the show. So like we would teach people how to make these good recipes, and also like talk about stuff like this.
You guys would teach people how to cook.
I don't cook. I hate cooking, and we were gonna have to cook here, so it was like,
Yeah.
it's a huge.
So maybe we'll do that
toll.
for one of our
have
one
to
of our
have
episodes.
to have more resources, or really have someone who loves
Do
cooking.
you have? I can do that. Do you have lavaliers?
Yeah,
That's what it's called, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Shirt mics.
I mean, there's Amazon.com
One
You
thing
usually have the stuff.
from Amazon.com.
One thing I was thinking about when the quote like warrior in a garden or garden. The one thing I do think about is like
Yeah, I love that quote. Sorry for fucking up that quote. All right, go ahead, share your quote.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Say
No,
what
well, I was gonna say like
He's bringing it back. Thank you, Miller.
I got
this
you.
is why we needed you.
You guys would still be talking about the laundry if I wasn't here.
I would have far won that battle again.
You guys would be like in the other room. The live would still be up, and you guys would be like. But anyways,
I'd probably be getting my fucking clothes folded.
Yeah.
like if
don't
you
know
think
about
about
No cookies.
our grandparents and stuff, like our grandfathers, like especially like they literally fought in wars, and I think that gave them a perspective on life. And I think that's one thing we struggle with in the U.S. is like we've all had our own trials and tribulations, but like we haven't fought in like a war. I feel like that would give you such a different perspective on life.
What's that old quote? Have you heard it's like, good men create.
Bad times create strong men.
Yeah, right. Bad times create strong men create good times create weak men, weak men create bad times or hard times.
I think that's right. Like I feel like a lot of the issues that we have today are not like in
Birthed from
1920,
good times.
they'd be like, whoa, this is like, it'd be the best day ever, you know? So
Dude, a poor person today lived 100 years ago.
yeah.
Like rich people 100 years ago didn't have AC. They couldn't fly across the country. They couldn't, do any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Depends on how you measure it, though. I think Elon, where like not to bring it back to Elon, should we keep on the garden warrior thing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
we
you
can.
want to say? And then
I was about to say like the feeling of uselessness and purposelessness.
I know, I
like
agree.
that's like a big thing that's
Yeah.
not tangible. Where it's like, yeah, like maybe this person lived in like heat, but like still woke up every day with like something to do. And I
Yeah.
think for the human mind, orienting on really any outcome brings like order. And I think like the absence of that and feeling like there's like no need to do anything is like a horrible thing for people. So that's a big thing for people.
Yeah. So actually, even expanding then on that, and then I'll take it back to with Jordan Peterson. He talks about. He says that there's this idea in sociology that high poverty correlates to high crime. So if an area is very deep in poverty, then they're going to have higher crime. But he's like, that's actually a misreading of the data. What it actually says is that it's the disparity in like the wealth gap that will create the crime. So for instance, if you have, let's just attribute like richest person in the
Bali.
world is 10, least, poorest is 0. And if you have a community of people who are at a 3, and then they're just next to people with a 4, there's going to be low crime. But if you have people that are at a 4 and they're next to people that are at a 7, that's going to cause high crime. And I think it's because of exactly what you're talking about. It's like people that they tend to not have the purpose, and then they look at the other people and they think things are unfair, and they shoot their perspective outside of themselves. They stop focusing on inside what they can do to better their own personal lives. It creates a boogeyman. But tying it back to the gardener, Jordan Peterson has another quote, or another thing that he talks about that my enjoyment, I guess, of the quote stems from. He talks about the fact that
you want to be a monster.
Yeah, you can't be moral if you're weak. Yeah. If you're a weak man who's not capable of inflicting harm on another person, you're not being moral, because you're not being moral when you don't inflict harm, because you're not choosing to not inflict harm. You're simply incapable. And on the reverse side, what you need in order to be moral is you need to be capable of inflicting harm on someone else, because then you're actively choosing to do good despite the fact that you could do harm. And I just think that's, so for this, why I like this quote so much is it's just like it's kind of a flowery way to say that kind of the same thing, right? Where like, I want to be capable of, I want to be a dangerous motherfucker. Like I'm taking some like jujitsu and some Muay Thai classes. Like I shoot guns. Like I want to be able to, like, if the world divulges into some sort of fucking chaos, I want to be the guy that has a tiger on a chain leash running a cult within the chaos. And so, but I don't want to ever do that, right? Like I don't want to ever have to. I just want to be capable if I do have to, so that, because I view myself as a moral person, I know given a lot of power, I would choose the right thing. And I'm like eager to put that to the test, which is one of like it's an internal coal flame. It's not an external flame that gets blown out by air. It's an internal heat inside of myself that never runs out, of like a steady stream of motivation. Like that idea is very enticing to me.
Yeah.
How do you think people should think about it, like practically? Like, and Luke, maybe if you have something on this too, like it's better to be a warrior and a gardener in a garden than a gardener in a war. Like, what can people take away to like you gave us a hypothetical, like if the world goes to shit, but is there stuff that's more like, I'll use the word practical? And Luke, if you want to take that one too, or if, you want to keep,
don't care.
Okay. Yeah. I would just say, like, how I like to think about it is a metaphor. So you need to define gardener, you need to define warrior, you need to define garden, and you need to define war. So it could easily be something where, in your business. Yeah, but because it's a metaphor, right? So like figure out what it means to be your type of warrior in your type of garden. So for me, like a garden would just be like good times, like just times where in my life, like let's say like I'm just financially very stable right now. That's a garden, but at the same time I want to be capable of going out there and like creating something from nothing, something from scratch, and building a business, creating an empire, versus a rich kid born into wealth that doesn't have any skills, never learned to be able to grow a business, where if you took his wealth from him, he would be screwed. Yeah. So like that's kind of how you can define each of the things to make the metaphor make sense in your life, whatever it is.
I like that. It's like if you get punched in the face, you need to find what that looks like. Like how will you respond?
Totally.
What about you? Anything to add to that?
Yeah, same thing. Basically, like you need to be able to fight a little bit. It's like you need to be able to fight and get what you want, not be a pussy.
Yeah.
And like shit like that. Like, like fucking seriously though, like, to pull it back to Elon, like he gets what he wants. Like he fights to get what he wants. He doesn't accept not getting what he wants. And I think that's, that's like the premise there. You want to fucking be able to fight. And I think, so many people like, I look back like being younger, or like say like you picked on somebody, or like you took a situation too far, you made a mistake, but like I'm happy about all that, right? It's like you want to like sometimes, it's like you go too far, and then or like you like bend out a little bit, like when we were partying, kind of going crazy, like just letting like the the animal or like whatever like take over a little bit and like run the show. And then it brings you to some like frightening points where you're like, holy shit, like I need to not do that again. Like I need to, and you're like actually afraid of your own self. Like you're like, oh my God, I could have, you know, I think that's a good place to like get to. And then you pull it back.
Realize you have that inside of yourself.
Yeah.
But you can tame it.
Exactly. And then you tame it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, I
also think everyone has that inside of themselves.
Yeah. It's
I
just,
think
they
every
don't,
single person does, but they don't know. And then
and they
you
don't
have a breaking point, and that's when you have like, not to bring it to something shitty, but like this last like mass shooting. This guy had a demon inside of himself that he never
looked at.
He never learned to tame, and
Right.
then it just went off.
Right.
And I don't want to oversimplify it. There's a lot of stuff going on, but that's the general idea.
Yeah. So I think it's like looking at things that are like, you know, and then, yeah, just not being a pussy. Like fucking, you gotta be able to take a fucking punch and like not have things go your way. And like people make fun of you or like people ridicule you. And then you be like, okay, you know, like, all right, I'm chill. Like, I don't give a fuck.
That's the like don't be a pussy, I think is a really good message, but it's not don't be scared. Right? It's like, hey, you're gonna be scared. Just don't let that stop you. Like I'm actually like a pretty anxious person. Like we could even make a whole episode about this. Like I definitely have like a heavy amount of anxiety that I've learned to just reel in and tame. And the biggest difference is I just don't let it stop me from doing anything that I want to do. Like when I'm feeling good, I put myself in a place where I can ask myself, do I want the outcome from this? And if the answer is yes, then I just do it, even though I'll be really scared.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, really, this is a cool story that like is very unflattering for myself, but was a really good lesson for me. The first time, I don't know if you remember this, but the first time that we were in like a big event.
Yeah, I remember.
And
your mouth.
No, not even
event?
that. I'm actually happy with that.
Okay. Yeah, you were like.
I'll talk about that. Yeah, I was so nervous.
Dude, you
like,
talk about the first thing. I want to
like,
hear the first thing that you were saying first.
In general, public speaking for me was like always like I hated to say here in class when my name was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I'm very comfortable in settings like this, but in front of people, I get super nervous. So we were at this event, and like Luke and myself and our first business and a couple of others, we were doing really well. So last second, Brad is like, yo, you guys are all going to speak on stage. And there's like a couple thousand people there. And I was just like, I freaked out on him. I like called him and I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like you just sprung this on me. What the hell? Like what's going on? And like, he was like, yo, hold on. This is a good thing. You're going to go up for a minute. It's fine. You're just going to talk about like how you, like your experience here. You're going to tell your story for a minute. And I was like, fuck you. I don't know if he ever told you that. I went off on him. I was like, fuck you, dude. I can't believe you're going to spring this on me. And I left and I didn't do it. And I didn't go on stage. And I had I felt like such a pussy. I was a pussy, right? Because in that instant, I had...
Fear beat you.
Yeah, exactly. My fear of that kicked my fucking ass. The next time, it was an event of 5,000 people.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I went on stage for that event, and it was like, you got makeup done.
I remember how nervous you were.
Oh my God, bro. I remember you came in the back and you made like some sort of joke. And I literally just looked at you, I was like, get the fuck out of my face. It was like there was no laugh, no smile, nothing.
Yeah. My mom was like, was Andrew on drugs? I was like, no, he was just really nervous.
So, but why I like that?
His mouth was so dry that it looked like he was like rolling or something.
Bro, literally, I was like, it was so bad. But
his face is just blown up on these huge screens.
I was proud of that one though.
Yeah.
Because,
you did good.
Well, it was because I did it. Even if I didn't do well, like I was terrified and I did it. And that event, now I'm thinking about it, it was 10,000 people. It was a live speaking event for 10 minutes and there was like 50,000 people on live stream. So I was just like shaking in my boots for that one, but I went and did it. Long story short, I kept doing it. And then like I ended up becoming comfortable with speaking on stage. And it's still something where like I like hate it. But after I walk off, I feel so good for doing it. And then I ended up getting pretty good at it by the end of it. And it was like, it's just a really cool experience of seeing how fear initially crippled me. And that feeling that I needed to feel that feeling of allowing fear to beat me and not do something that I know I wanted to do that I knew was good for me to do. And I didn't do it. Fear kicked my ass. That feeling is something I'll never forget and I never want to feel again. So I don't allow it to stop me.
I think a lot of the benefits in life come from like conquering that fear on the other side of that. So,
100%.
no, I think it's good. All right, let's see what we got next on the agenda.
Here, can I just read this?
Oh, yeah.
Nature loves courage. You make the commitment and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Dream the impossible dream and the world will not grind you under. It will lift you up. This is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is the shamanic dance in the waterfall. This is how magic is done. By hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a feather bed.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's like what Will Smith said. He's like, yeah, when you just make up your mind, you decide and you do it. You don't let
universe
anything stop you.
Yeah.
The universe is malleable. It wants to get out of your way. It moves and it does what it needs to do in order to help you.
Yep. And then can you have the courage to just lock on?
Just do it.
Yep.
All right, so next, well, do you want to talk about Luke? I know you mentioned earlier, like, do you guys want to talk about any updates with either of your businesses that, like, are worth mentioning on the show? Or,
Sure.
like, Luke, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. We are trying to spend so much money on ads. It's ridiculous. And it was definitely a stressful week because we're also hiring a bunch of people. Like we've got, I think like, you know, I don't know how many people we've hired over the last few weeks, but it's been a lot, like more than 20. And then there's like more people coming in and like we need to keep their things full. So it's, you know, we sit this beautiful onboarding thing, best meetings I've ever had company to date, like best structure, so like tangible, like so tangible for the person coming on and hitting like a lot of just really important components of going to work for a new company. And we need to spend like fucking 20 grand a day on ads, which is just wild. So I've been working with this media buying team and I'm just like, thank God I know what I'm doing, because without it, you know, like I'm facilitating the media buying team in like a lot of way and like feedback, like this volume, let's look back at history. All right, well, should we do this? I understand your strategy, you know, this, that, the other. So yeah, that's just been stressful, but it's also really exciting. And yeah, that's where we're at. So next week, if everything goes as planned, you know, we'll be spending, you know, ideally 17,000 a day. Yesterday we spent 15,000. The bookings were more expensive, and they should get less expensive over the next week, and then up to 17, and it should be that'd be good. And it still even works at 20. But yeah, crazy. It's exciting. Yeah,
what's your current spend right now per day?
Yesterday it was 14.5.
Was that before the new, like what was it like a month ago?
4.
So you're trying to like almost quadruple it?
Yeah, doubling it from what it's been. So like we spent 10 grand a day for like more than for most of the year last year.
Got it.
Yeah.
And do you have a pretty good understanding of like what, like, are you expecting that 10 grand? Like, say if I was making numbers up, it returned 20 grand a day last year, just making the number up. Would you expect, if it's 2x, would you expect the same thing to happen as you scale it up to 17,000? Is that the right way to think about it? Or
so I mean, I have like a target cost per booking, which is important.
is that the CAC? That's like
CAC could be applied to anything.
Okay.
So like that's cost per acquisition.
Yeah.
So are you acquiring a lead? Are you acquiring a purchase? Are you acquiring
an
application? Are you acquiring a phone? Whatever it is. So yeah, CAC. So for us, the CAC is a booking, and that's $85. It's a target, and it works even at like 120. But the target's 85. It works even, you know, maybe even I don't know where the ceiling is there, but we're doing it off 85, and then we take that. And then we have what's that going to cost for a certain number of bookings. So 200 bookings times 85 is $17,000. So that means $17,000 in spend for the day. And then we have that 200 number. So that's 200 opportunities. So then it's like, what's the conversion rate on those 200? And we work it out at 15. We work it out at 20. We work it out at 25. And then that's all the likely revenue. And then we take the average cost per customer, bring it down by like a margin so it's very safe on our estimates, and then we look at the different case scenarios and say, okay, you know, on the low end this isn't really worth it because we're so say like 15% conversion, it's like that would make as much money as we make with like less than half the amount of bookings, way tighter, way leaner, way more cost effective, right?
Are you just looking at the expenses like per like during the sales process? I would anticipate you have like specific expenses, but then there's also fixed expenses that you have with the company. So how do you
Factor those
that
in as well.
Yeah. Just like
Factor those in as well.
Is that just like kind of a final calculation at the end? You have a lump sum every month that that is just like the nut to run the company, and you toss that in?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Got it. So you'll do like basically all of these variables that are isolated during the sales process to get like a net number from that, and then
have the target. Yeah. So I just try and add it all up, and then I try and be overestimating the cost and underestimating the income.
Yeah, right.
By like 10-20%. So
and you'll underestimate the income by assuming like a lower conversion rate.
Lower conversion rates. So conversion rate, you want to see like all, but then just literally plugging in a lower number than it's going to be.
Gotcha.
So like if it's say $1,500 or $1,300, we put in 1,000, and then also don't even factor in. For me, I don't factor in any MRR. So it's like,
what's that?
Monthly recurring
revenue.
Oh.
So, say we have like, whatever that is, that's cushion, so it's like, okay, we know we're not going to.
Is that like the people that, for you, just the people that are continuing with the service? So you're only focused on new customers?
Yeah, I want to make it work just with new cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just like making sure that the new cash cancels out the cash that it took to spend to bring the new people in.
Yeah, and then makes money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's exciting. And then that MRR is big. Like that MRR should, if we run like this for say 3 months, that MRR, the MRR right now is like 300 or something like that, 350. And that'll go up to like 700 in a couple months at that volume. So that's big. And then like that's tacked on and it's not being accounted for and it's still working. Like that's really working. Yeah. So
I want to make a statement, and then I want to ask you a follow-up question. So the statement I'm making, Yeager, I presume you do something different, but I think it's important. You build in a factor of safety. You lowered your expectations on the income side, and you hire them. Yeah, because I presume when you run your models, you do something similar, right? Like you have a conservative sale price, and do you overestimate how much you might spend on materials?
I
think
we
that's
have contingencies built out throughout the pro forma. So for us, we're analyzing individual deals.
Yeah.
But like, we may only do 20 deals in a year.
Yeah.
Whereas like you're doing 20 deals a day, or probably ideally more, I would assume, right?
At 15%
Probably
30, at 20% 40, at
Yeah,
25% 50, and anything above 15%. Anything above 30 deals is good.
Yeah.
Luke, are you doing all the onboarding, all the finances, all the funnel optimization yourself? Like,
I am not remotely involved in any onboarding other than one meeting. But that's all very dialed in. It's fucking sweet. The funnel. So I'm very hands-on with like, wait, so what's the question?
like
No.
financial stuff, like
Financial stuff, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So I like work out all the numbers. I'm making those decisions. I'm making the decisions on what to spend, if we should continue to hire more, if we should stop hiring more. I built all the original funnels and did all of that. Now they're at a point where they're working. So we have copywriters and copywriter Harry, who by the way, Harry Loads.
Oh yeah.
He was like, wait, Alex Miller. I was in gym class with him. We had a disagreement one time over something.
I'm sorry, Harry. I don't remember. That doesn't strike. I'm trying to think. Like I knew I took gym class pretty seriously, but I hope I wasn't.
Yeah, he was the most athletic kid in the school.
No.
That's how he was like one of most of the athletic
I'd say
kids.
one. My friends would probably disagree. I think I would say top 10%, but like it definitely wasn't like
Top 10%. Don't sell yourself
Don't
short.
sell yourself short, man.
all right. I'm sorry, Harry.
No, it wasn't like that. He said you guys like worked it out and you were cool.
I didn't realize it must have been kind of deep. Like
Yeah.
Harry's
10
a
years
smart
later.
guy. He remembers shit.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's writing copy in the background. And then what happened was we're hiring all these people and all of our costs went up, and we had this media buying team. So I had to go in there and like like get everyone together. So like get their whole media buying team together, kind of like throw not a bitch fit, but be like, hey, look, like this is where we're at. We showed you these numbers. We needed these bookings to be here by then. We gave you this visibility. I made it really clear. This is no surprise. Here's historically, you guys haven't made any new creatives. We need new creatives. And I don't think scaling into a $60 CPM is a good idea. Just la da 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 da. Here's my argument. Here's why. Here's what I think you guys should do. And then they take that and then made adjustments, and then it got up to whoever their like lead media buyer is. And then I realized that they're really good at scaling, but they're not good at making creative. So our creative team's better than their creative team. So I was like, look, we're going to put our creative, but I was pissed because I was like, part of this service is creative and you have the same creatives that I've already been running. And I saw decline. And then out of laziness, reran, saw the decline again, and you're still running those same creatives, and they're the best ones. This to me is not a good sign. And I was like, and just think that there's no backlog when my creative team was making 2 to 4 a week every week, even if we weren't using them, so that if we did need them, we had them. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
And so now our guys are back making the creative. We're giving that to them, which is like fuel for them to use, and then. And then their job is to spend and hit that 85 CPB, which is, so yeah. And that's what all I was doing this week. So it's like just really up in there because everyone's like, hey, we're onboarding all these people. Where the fuck the bookings at? It's like there was like a couple days this week where there was like totally half full and we're like making a big issue weekends and then it's just missing and everyone's like, so that lands on me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about you, Yeags? Anything? I think that was good. I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. Anything, Yeags, interesting to report this week from a business perspective, or just business as usual?
Honestly, kind of a continuation from last week. We had one admin that we were training to do some just like spreadsheet type stuff for us. Someone that we are outsourcing all of our internal follow-ups to, for new property acquisitions. And then actually we're onboarding one more VA for the property management piece. Just like handle all incoming calls and disperse contractors to do like random maintenance requests.
Yeah.
But honestly, all of that I'm really excited to get up and running. I mean, to be honest, I'm a little bit I would say right at the edge of looking over the cliff towards overwhelmment in the business. We just have a lot that's going on, and it was just myself and Tyler. So I'm pretty excited to bring some people on. Our next, our first big person we're bringing on, that's like a big hire, would be this project management position. So we're kind of still debating that. We're trying to figure out what it's going to look like. I mean, transparently, like our biggest hurdle is that
free cash flow.
Well, our biggest hurdle is, even like deeper than that, I would say, is just us figuring out like exactly who we want to be in the space. Like we've pivoted so much trying to figure out what sort of asset we want to buy and who we want to be within like real estate investment that, we've been trying different things throughout this whole time, and we haven't like locked in on one. So it's hard to set goals and define the parameters for success and failure. And if you don't do that, then it's.
I thought you guys were locking in on the rentals.
Yes and no. Like we're doing like some of the smaller, 1 to 5 unit development stuff, but then we're potentially like looking at some bigger stuff, and then we're still doing some single family flips, and then we have a couple condo developments.
Okay.
So we're
never mind.
Yeah, we're bouncing around a little bit.
I was under the impression that it was the rentals and then cash injections. Flips.
So that's where we sort of ended up. But then even within that, it's like, all right, so for the rentals, what do we want to do? What kind of assets do we want to buy? Is it development stuff? Is it redevelopment? What sort of value add stuff do we want to do with investors?
All right, so let's make a decision. Fucking no time better than the present. Let's pull this out of them, Miller. What do you want?
So, me and Ty definitely have to sit down and talk about it because
we have the phone thing. We can get him in live.
You want to call?
Yeah, if you get the phone thing. And you think he's ready to make that decision? I don't want any pity-patty bullshit on here.
Yeah, he's going to have some pity-patty bullshit.
No. I don't want any. I didn't say he was going to bring any. You guys,
I'm saying he's gonna have some.
so he's not ready to make that decision.
No,
Why?
we definitely just have to have that conversation more in depth. I mean, we get bogged down in like just finishing the tasks that we need to finish to work on what we're currently working on. So,
Yeah.
So then we end up like putting this conversation off. Which
Do
is
you
probably the most
define the
thing.
goal? I think something good to do that is defining the goal of the business.
Well, right. That's
So is it
you're
money?
saying take it back
Is
even further.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it like, you
Right.
know, what is the goal? Because
Right.
sometimes the goal is forces a certain model. Right? It's like this is only possible with like this kind of model.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So like for ours, trying to like even bring something tangible to that, I would say, like for me, the goal is, I would say it's twofold. It's to bring large chunks of cash into the business and build recurring revenue with that cash. So
Yeah.
the recurring revenue would be,
So then you would literally just do the things that give you recurring revenue and put large chunks in.
yeah, it's just that we're trying to figure out what we want to do with that.
Which ones bring larger chunks in and are easier? And then you would say, you know, large chunks in are easy to do or large chunks in are hard to do.
Yeah,
or,
right. Like they're both on the spectrum of difficulty versus chunks.
Yeah. So you gotta, well, maybe there's a spectrum where it's easy and chunks.
Yeah, we'd love to find that. The
Yeah.
easy chunks is what will take us to
That's
that
what you're
next
looking
level.
for.
Yeah, for sure.
Or make something hard easy. Like,
Yeah.
would it be hard for Elon?
Whoa.
Or would he be able to?
Whoa.
Or would he be able to find chunk after chunk after chunk after chunk after chunk after
True.
chunk after
Yeah,
chunk?
he would definitely design process.
Whenever I'm struggling, I just try and like reframe it.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I make this look small? How can I make this look easy?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's like a very good conversation for Ty and I to have those. Like first get really clear on like what is the goal of the business, strip away all the bullshit, and then make a concise one sentence statement about that.
And that's like a for you guys thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a for me, Andrew, and for me, Tyler. What do I want out of this thing that I'm giving my
each
life to?
individually make that up and then come together.
Yeah, exactly. And then hopefully
Yeah, I
it's in
agree.
alignment.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
There's a quote in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It says, efficiency is doing things well, but effectiveness is doing the right things. And you have to think about it, but that's like the idea they think about is like, it's the jungle from the trees, I think is the other analogy. It's like you have sometimes you could be doing things really, really well, but it doesn't matter if
You're doing
like,
the wrong things.
yeah, like if your it would be like if your supplementation's really on point and you like drink really good water, but you don't work out or you get 4 hours of sleep. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like
Right.
you're not doing that. So but I think to Luke's
good
point,
point.
it's highly personal to you. And
So personal.
Yeah.
And then it's also like, it's not permanent. And it's also like business is like, there's a million businesses, you know, it's like you can literally build a business out of almost fucking anything. And like, and they all can be in so many different ways, you know? What was I just going to say? It was, I thought, pretty cool. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember
About
what
each
it was.
business being personal to your own lifestyle, what you want.
No, it wasn't that. I don't remember. Maybe it'll come back to me. It was pretty cool, but I don't remember.
Damn.
I'll say this. You said you need a project manager. I'm a project manager. And if I get fired for doing this show, I was actually going to say, but if you guys think if you need someone like I might
Oh
be,
shit! I would love to work together.
I might be, especially if you keep talking about Musk.
Show me what you do.
Well,
We'll do that in the Who is Alex
And
Miller
next segment,
episode.
we'll do Who is Alex Miller. And
Okay, but I also want like some visual. Like if you could like just I don't know.
That's gonna be a whole episode.
I don't know about a whole episode.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
think
telling
the
you, it's gonna be a whole
viewers
episode.
might go down to one viewer.
Nah,
I
dog.
think Elon would still.
I'm
Dude, all we're
not. I'm not
doing right now is
hiring. I'm
building
not hiring you
catalog.
if that's your fucking frame. I want to hear 2 going to 4 once we figure out.
We're
Okay.
building a catalog right now.
Okay.
Because when there are eventually 1 million people, they're gonna want to go back and be like,
I'm
oh,
gonna
where'd
want
these guys
another
come
project
from?
manager soon.
There you go. Your project management would probably be more.
It's
applicable.
way more applicable
Yeah.
in Luke's space.
Yeah.
but-
Mine is like, I need you to know about construction.
No, I don't. I know
Yeah.
shit about like.
Mine is like organized tasks, people.
Yeah. Do you know what agile? Do you know what agile development
Yeah.
is? I'm like I was like a scrum master and shit. Yeah, I'm money when it comes to that stuff. Okay. Anyway, let's do. So we got 2 more segments this week. Let's do the weekly optimization segment, and then we'll do COVID reflection if we want.
That
Okay.
was weekly optimization, right?
Well, it was kind of like weekly business. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I think that's true. Like anything else that popped up this week that like you think is cool? Health, work.
Yeah,
money?
found a hip kettlebell exercise at Fox.
Nice.
Body feels great. Ran today. Did deadlifts 315 or 295 for 15s. That was the first time I did deadlifts in like 6 months.
Nice. I feel good.
You're trying to lean out a little bit, right? Like,
Yeah, trying to lead out, and my body's just feeling good. So it's like the massages every week. The,
I was
the
gonna ask if you
kettlebells.
still are getting. Is T
Yep.
coming every Friday?
Yep.
Oh, I gotta hit her up.
Yep.
I've been avoiding it because I was a little bit nervous about how much it affected me last time.
Oh yeah.
But I need to reach out.
what happened last time you had a massage?
Well, it wasn't just a massage, dude. It's a torture chamber for 80 minutes.
Really?
This is the most painful 80 minutes of my life. First of all, this woman is the most. She's the best at what she does out of anyone I've ever met personally. I think.
Yeah.
Like
for
I'm
sure,
more
me too.
confident in her than like anyone else that I even have seen on like podcasts or TV or anything.
Really?
In terms of like how does the body work and where do things connect and what's going wrong to cause this issue. And basically she like. So it's like some sort of deep fascia release where she's breaking up scar tissue throughout your body and
Sounds painful.
and bringing in, hydration into your muscles is my general understanding.
Yeah.
It's extremely painful. And so for me, what I thought was wild is she's like, working my whole body. She gets to my left ankle and she's like, yep, here we go. Found the issue. I'm like, what? My left ankle? And she was like, yep. She's like, I bet you have right hip issues and left shoulder issues. I'm like, I tore my right hip flexor in high school and my left shoulder gets hurt every year, like consistently. She's like, yeah, it's all because when you were probably like 8 to 10 years old, you rolled your ankle and you never rehabbed it properly and a ton of scar tissue built up. You don't have mobility in your ankle, so you overcompensate with your hip, which causes you to overcompensate with your shoulder. And then she just, she finished the massage, but it was like, for probably 3 to 4 days after that, I had this incredible headache that was just like ripping me up. I was like, my sleep was off. It was really,
Yeah.
it was really hard on me. So I
kind of want.
I want to go back, dude. She's awesome. She's incredible.
Yeah, and like it's like I think if it is intense because like I mean your body stores emotions in your muscles.
Yeah.
Like it stores.
Dude, I was
like,
shaking, dripping in sweat, and like somewhat like screaming. Like a couple times, I'm like literally screaming in Luke's apartment.
Yeah. That's why I left because I'm screaming as well.
Yeah.
I actually last time I was fucking just it's like becoming less now. It's like it's like normalizing, but
It's easy.
So it doesn't go away.
But she was like, you were
Dude.
dehydrated,
Yeah.
and like you weren't drinking enough water,
Yeah.
and like she said like a bunch of shit like that, and
I was
like,
fresh off like a mini bender,
and
too.
you were drinking
Yeah.
so it's like that I think is why where like if you're like exercising, you're hydrated, like you're doing the sauna, I don't think that would happen. But she also was like. She was like he holds a tension in his entire body. Like she's like
during the massage.
yeah,
she
she's like
goes,
usually people have like a place like their hips or like their upper back or their neck, and she was like he just has tension everywhere.
see, that's what I'm talking about. High functioning anxiety.
Yeah.
People, and every time I tell them that, they're like, "What? Really?" Like so surprised. I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't let it stop me, and I deal with it in specific ways." But
So that's
I literally
like
hold tension everywhere.
if you did it for like say like 6 weeks, then like for sure that wouldn't be happening. But
Well,
like I've
that's
had
what
that
I want to
before.
do. I want to go consistently to her because I realized after the first time you can't I can't
It's not
just
a
go
one thing.
once.
No.
Yeah, it's not something.
And
like,
then what's interesting for me is like so I had low back pain.
yeah.
Low back pain due to a pelvic shift due to like overactive or underactive glute on my right side, underactive lower abs. So then I started working that, right? And then like all of a sudden my back hurts in a little bit different place. And then like I have like a way tighter left quad. Why? Because like the way my body's distributing weight's changing, the way I'm walking is changing. So now like that needs to get worked out. And then like that gets worked out. Now it's like, okay, now this leg that has been compensated for by this leg is no longer being compensated for. So it's getting blasted and it's got all these fucking knots. Like now these come out, it like moves, you know? And it's like you moves around. But like today I ran. And after running, I'm like, I just felt like very erect. Like I felt like very like, I feel like
good word, yeah.
standing
That's solid.
straight up, like,
Yeah.
Solid gait. Like I could get ran into.
Rock hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Fucking hard as shit.
Luke running
Fully
with full
torqued.
boner. He's sprinting down the street.
fully torqued after a run. But yeah, it's a great feeling, dude. I love that.
Yeah.
Not the fully torqued part. I mean, that's also a great feeling, but just feeling like solid.
You're correcting specific places in your body and everything's firing and working.
Dude, I
correctly.
couldn't deadlift 135 pounds 6 months ago because my back
crazy.
hurt. I had the strength to do it, but I just had my back hurt. And I literally hadn't deadlifted for 6 months, and I did 295 for sets of 15. Like, no problem, no
Yeah,
pain.
it's wild.
And then today, that was yesterday, I woke up, ran 5 miles today, no pain.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to bring her back.
She's fire.
I need to make a regular thing.
Yeah, she's fire.
Um,
She's today working with some billionaire client that she has who's in New York. So like
Cool.
she's literally going up to New York for this guy. So she does like she worked with professional athletes and then like rich people basically.
And like Olympic athletes, she was saying she she got flown out to the Olympics. And, like, she was like the personal. Yeah,
dude, I want to try it because I'm not going to tell you what my issues are because I want to see if she can
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah, she got you.
She'll find
You don't
them.
even know what your issues are.
I know,
That's the
no.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
bro. I thought I knew my issues.
You think you got a
Nope.
neck problem, but
Yeah.
like
yeah,
Then
it's your
she-
pelvic floor.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Dude, she does that. She did that on you?
No.
No, she did that on you.
Dude, she didn't
It
get
is
there because I started
the
shaking.
most uncomfortable thing like you've
Yeah.
ever felt in your life. You're like,
Dude, when I was getting my massage done, she ended.
I literally
5
asked her-
minutes early because my whole body was like this. She was like, "All right, that's your body tapping out." Like I couldn't stop it. I was like literally shaking like this.
Dude, I'm terrified.
I asked her, I was like, how hard would you have to push to like tear my muscles?
Yeah,
Like that's like
you were worried
I was
about
literally
that.
worried
Yeah.
about that. I was like, is my hamstring just gonna rip? Like, she's like, oh no, it'd have to be like
Yeah,
this.
I take her word as gospel, dude. I also said I was like, yeah, I was having like a little bit of digestive like thing going on. She's like, oh, okay, I'll clear you out. She's working right here for like 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
right here, and then she like I felt this like almost like a click, like something released, and she's like, oh, yep, got it. And then she's like going down in here, and she's like, okay, like lungs, kidney, liver. Oh, yep, liver. Whoop, whoop. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. She was like, all right, you're gonna have a pretty big bowel movement the next morning, bro. The next morning I woke up and my shit was like a fucking elephant shit. I swear to God, it was incredible. It was wild.
That's
what?
crazy.
Yeah.
You're raising my belief level.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck, she is good.
Yeah, that's why I said to her when I got done. I was like, "Damn, T, you're gonna live forever."
Yeah. She's the real deal for sure.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's also super cool. Like, so she makes it like I felt like I thought I was in better shape. Like my body was in better shape than it was, but she made me feel okay about the fact that I'm really beat up.
Yeah.
Although she did tell me that I have the worst ankle mobility out of anyone she's ever met, including her client with screws in his ankle. So
Really?
that was good.
Dude, you should work on that.
No, you
I
should
know,
really
I
should.
know. Oh, well, I am. She gave me some exercises, so I've been doing those at home. And
You could do like where you're seating, your feet are like this,
Mhm.
and like you're sitting on your toes basically, and it's just like fucking going.
I've done
that.
some knees over toes stuff. You know that guy?
Yeah.
So I've done like I have his program, so I'm like doing a little bit of that, and then rolling out the bottom of my feet has been
Game changer.
You
Oh,
put
yeah.
like lacrosse ball or like
lacrosse
golf ball.
Yeah, so I have a
Frozen
lacrosse
lacrosse ball.
ball. It sits above my stove, and then so like when I make breakfast, I do it, and then when I make dinner, I do it. So it's like twice a day, and like it's crazy because my feet are getting like wider, and I'm like able to use the muscles in the bottom of my feet more,
Really?
so I can grip the ground better.
That's why I wear those barefoot shoes all the time.
I was gonna ask you the Vivo ones.
Yeah.
You like those?
I literally my favorite shoes.
Really?
Yeah.
All right,
All
I'm gonna
foot
get a
pain's
pair.
gone. Like I just
Really?
all I wear is Vivos now.
I
No way.
I gotta get them.
Do you run
Yeah.
in them and like work out? And stuff?
I run in Nike Frees, but like an old version of Nike Free where it's like you're basically barefoot. And I didn't realize that. I was like, I don't think this is the right thing. And now this whole barefoot thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my
And it
feet
makes
feel
sense.
great. Yeah.
You know, like our shoes do. Like,
Says like after 6 months of wearing, like 60% of your foot strength is restored, like your arch,
whoa,
all that kind of stuff.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get a pair.
Yeah, I love them.
That's
That's
sick.
all I wear is Vivos now.
It's the only testimonial I needed. Done. I'm
Boom.
getting them.
Boom, boom.
It's already done. Nothing's gonna stop me.
I
Team
think
Vivos. These I put on for the podcast. They're like the exact opposite, but it looks cool. So
all right, let's do last segment for this week. COVID reflection. So how about we do this?
Try to get fired?
Well, no, this is a dangerous one. So I'll let you. Do you guys want to do just your biggest COVID reflection, or do you want to make this a weekly segment where we can like hone into one, Let's do that.
I don't want to talk about COVID on here weekly.
Okay,
Yeah,
what's your
I
biggest
agree.
what's your biggest takeaway? Like when you look at the world pre-COVID to post-COVID now, what is your biggest takeaway? Is it like how about I go first and you guys think on it, because that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
For
I
me,
got mine.
For me, my biggest thing was there's this guy Balaji. I gotta send you. I was actually thinking on the car ride over here. I'll send you. Balaji was on Tim Ferriss. It's like a 4.5 hour interview.
It's one of my favorite interviews.
It is electric content that you'll really like him.
Sweet.
He's very much like Elon, where he's just like very devoted to the truth.
Yeah.
And he's like, he has a really, really interesting way of thinking. He's an awesome dude.
So he said, look, there's 3 ways to vote. People think of the most traditional way to vote is like you go to the polling booth, right? But that's like once every 2 years, once every 4 years, where you can vote with your feet or you can vote with your wallet. So I think what I learned during COVID is like people learn to vote with their feet, right? People were migrating from state to state. And I think that's good. It's almost like encouraging competition. Like if you are Florida or if you're California or if you're Nevada, you have to put together a package that is enticing. Whereas before it was much more structured, like, hey, if you work at company X, you have to live in New York City. But now you can work anywhere, and it makes the states sort of like compete.
Well, that
business.
was like the general, like, have you ever heard the phrase the American experiment?
No.
Okay, so that's what they used to call it that was like the general phrase going around like during the American Revolution, after we had the United States of America. The whole experiment was one of federalism, where essentially you have all of these different states, or at the time 13 colonies, that each have their individual way of ruling and governing and their own laws. And the states choose the laws for everyone that lives in the state government. And then you have a higher government called the federal government. The purpose of the federal government is to protect your life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You've heard that phrase?
Yeah.
It's to make sure that your life is not in danger, to make sure that you have the freedom to do whatever you want as long as you don't infringe on anyone else's freedom, life, or happiness. And happiness they defined as property. So the right to own your own property. So the purpose of the federal government is literally just that. It's, hey, let's band together in case there's any sort of invasion or in case anyone's actually in danger. And you can't steal other people's shit and you can't hurt anyone else. Besides that, each state chooses their own thing. So it was always supposed to be like that, and then the federal government just started gaining more power.
It's really well said. Like, I really like the American, but for me, that was my biggest thing. It was like, it is cool that if you like one way of living, you can go live somewhere else. If you like another way, like, and it's all good. It's
That's
very
what's like amazing about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can disagree, but it's like, okay, well, you just go live there.
You go
I'll live here.
Yeah, right. So I think that is like my biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
Right.
It matters a lot where you are. Like my friends in Florida, they're like, I went down there and I was like, oh, dude, this is great not having masks. Like, what? Like, dude, I haven't worn a mask in a year and a half. They're like, dude, COVID literally lasted 6 months here. That's it. And then it was like that. Like, I didn't think about it. It was not in my frame of reference at all.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But honestly, my biggest takeaway is just how little people really think. Just the by and large, the majority of people don't really think. They tend to just get their opinions out. They outsource their opinions to other people, and then they just kind of regurgitate it. And it made me realize how fragile our society is. Honestly, it's kind of like, sounds kind of that's like a wild statement, but I mean, I don't know, living in the city, especially during like the BLM riots, like during 2020, and like it was a really, really crazy time. I was on my balcony, I'm watching buildings burn. It's just lawlessness. Like I was out in the suburbs golfing one time. I didn't pick up my phone till 6:30 when I was done my round, and I see a text. It wasn't a text, it was a push notification from the city saying lockdown starts at 6 p.m. Everyone needs to be in their house at 6 p.m. And I'm outside the city, so I'm driving in. Every exit is closed by trash trucks that are parked on the exit. There was one exit that was open, and it was backed up, like way back, and we like scooted to the front and got in. Going to my apartment, we couldn't, there was police blockades everywhere, so we couldn't get to my apartment. So I literally had to get out and walk, like it was like 3-4 blocks. I took my 4-iron out of my bag, and I walked with my bag and walked, and like I was just like, I had to be like ready to go, dude, because it was literally lawless. Like there was people just breaking into places if they wanted something, or just like smashing cars, like doing whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
it was
wild,
crazy.
I do agree with you, like thinking for yourself. Like again, like the say it out loud test. Sometimes people would say, like, to be very specific, Fauci objectively said, and again, I don't want to make it political, but again, I think it's just like say it out loud. Fauci said masks do not work at the beginning. Do not go out and get them. And then 4 weeks later, he said they do work. It's like I didn't trust him after the first thing that he said.
Yeah.
But there's so many examples of that, and I agree. Like I think people should just think for themselves. I
Yeah.
think that's a good takeaway without getting fired
Yeah,
quite yet.
we won't pull it back in more than that. But in general, just creating your opinion based off of everything you see rather than just outsourcing your decision
Based on your reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke, how about you? Anything like stick out to you, like remote working, personal health?
Gosh, I'm trying to like not be very pessimistic here.
Yeah.
I don't even think
Like
it's a
a takeaway.
pessimistic thing, though. Honestly, like
Well, yeah, it's not pessimistic. Maybe it's objective and just harsh and negative, but true.
but is it even negative? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that like now more than ever, there's like a lack of belief in like order, and that's not kind of like society fragile type of that's not good. You know, it's like I can't imagine being like in 5th grade and not being able to like believe in like something, you know, or like or just have such like conflicting ideas of like any sort of North Star. Like I think that's like, it's like Elon Musk is great, but like he's a fucking, you know, horrible person. Jeff Bezos, it's like Trump or Biden. It's like, it's just, that is frightening. And then I think the fragility of like the United States as well. So like, you know, this idea, it's like all sunshine and rainbows. I mean, that I also do though think that like from like a monetary standpoint, the United States is going to be okay. We're reaching this point of like excess automation, technology driving costs down, abundant, like everyone can have almost everything. It's not like Naval says, like everyone can be rich type of deal. So I'd say number one, the main thing is like fragility due to like a fracturing of like the literal meanings of like right and wrong, and like not having a North Star, number one. And then number two, the like tangible and like palpable increased level of like social discomfort that like I don't know. Do you guys see that at all? Like there's
Totally.
like people, like when you're walking by, like there's way less eye contact. Like people are looking down, they don't look you in the eyes. You know, it's like, you know, you're driving by somebody and like you'll see someone's like pissed off. It just seems more frequent. Or like, you know, at the gym, it was like everyone, although I am kind of friends with everyone at the gym, but like there's like, it's, you know, I don't know, there's just
people
clearly
on edge. You're just saying,
yeah, there's just clearly people who are just spending too much time alone, too much time in social media, too much time agreeing or disagreeing or whatever it is, and not enough time just being present and like where you're at and alive and enjoying yourself and you know, trying to like do better for your fellow human. You know, it's like I don't think that.
Dude, but I so like what I meant to when I was like, oh, maybe it's not actually negative, is like saying something like that, and something like what all of us said, I think is something that like 80% of people would agree with, was everything that we just said. And people seeing that other people think that way too, and they're like, oh, like I don't want to like fight someone because they have a differing opinion than myself. Like we can coexist and have different opinions. And like at the end of the day, like I want to be around. I'm a happy person. I want to be around happy people. I want people to be safe and secure. Like in general, like all of us have that mindset where we want you know, a society where like everyone can coexist and have a good life. And I think talking about that is important because when other people see that, someone with differing opinions than us could potentially see that and be like, oh, okay, cool. They also think like that. They're not my enemy just because they think differently.
Right. I don't have to be fucking tight ass walking down the fucking sidewalk.
Yeah, right.
Like,
And they
'cause,
can
like
ease up
someone's
a
going to
little.
walk by me and like,
Right.
you know, I have like all of this shit going on and they have all this shit going on.
Right. What if
that's
they-
very palpable to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like women, like it seems like so many people are just so not confident, so insecure seeming.
Well, dude, did you see? I saw the stat that the amount of men under the age of 30 that are reporting that they have zero sex, which I think is like maybe 3 years or more or something of like no sex, is it tripled in the last what was it, 10 years or something? Went from like 9% to like 30%.
Yeah, like that's wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking Peterson's involuntary incel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Incel, involuntary celibates.
yeah.
I'm gonna drow, but I don't fit that. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I got really uncomfortable.
Westchester, call him back.
I got really uncomfortable for a second. It's like 3 years ago. Okay, I'm good.
Got 6 more months. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, bro. I think that's a good place to end. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about.
Yeah, let's end on the incel thing.
Yeah, let's just end on that.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Always a great time.
Yeah.
Always a good conversation.
Something profound.
Yep.
I beg to differ.
God damn.
All right.
It's pretty profound.
See everyone next week.
All right,
Maybe
see you
2
guys
weeks.
next
We
All
don't
right,
know.
see you guys.
Yeah.
Bye. All right. Well done. Wow, Andrew, that was such a great way to tie that together at the end there.
Yeah, nice positive thing for everyone.